People who escape death by complete luck. What happened? Was 16 in Bermuda, riding my moped into town when I came up to a bus stopped at a red light. I came to a stop, and then, as is tradition, I scooted around the bus to be at the front of the traffic. No more than 10 seconds later, a second bus plowed into the back of first bus at 30-40 mph. I would have been pancaked, no question. Apparently the second bus driver had had a medical event and lost consciousness. I just sat on the side of the road for 30 minutes and looked at the trees, contemplating my mortality. Was driving home from a party with a friend in the car. Had a cop car on random patrol following me down to a main intersection. Avoiding any sort of risk of getting a ticket, I was being extra cautious when waiting for the light to change. My side had only just changed to green, and since I was slower than normal moving off the line, it stopped me getting plowed by the semi that blew through the other part of the intersection on a red at full speed. I was just stopped there in stunned silence. Even the cops took a minute or two to reflect on what had happened before they peeled off and lit that truck up. I ended up coming back along the road where the cops had finally managed to pull that driver over, 5 km away from where the incident happened. Was swimming at an Australian beach, stupidly not between the flags, got smacked by a rogue wave and was stuck in a riptide. I was knocked out cold and pretty much drowned. Still to this day I don't know how I got to shore. When I woke I was up on the wet sand of the beach and had 5 jellyfish around me. I was in the passenger seat of my dad's small sports car low to the ground when a crowbar came off a work truck in front of us and flew into the windshield of our car. Somehow it stopped a few inches away from my face and I luckily happened to be looking down, which meant all the glass that would have ended up on my face was all in my hair instead. I always think about how lucky I was. I can't explain why that crowbar stopped half in and half out of the car. Crazy to think that if it didn't stop it would have hit me square in the forehead. Not me but 2 strangers. When I was living in a college town, my roommate was driving me to the store to get some beer. It was dark out with not a lot of light for the street. These 2 people started crossing the street and were right in front of us as our light turned green. I honked at them and they got pissed off and stopped right in front of our car. The next second, a car came speeding past us in the next lane. Had they kept walking they would have been hit by that car at about 40 mph. Sudden cardiac death at work. Coworker gave me CPR. Paramedics got my heart beating again. 5 survival rate. I ate a lot more ice cream once I was healthy again. My only example, we went to party at Paul Smith College. My friend's favorite cousin was a student there. Bonfire, booze, and someone had the bright idea to bring out a snowmobile. I was gonna ride on it but had to go to the bathroom. I guess I took too long because he asked a different girl to ride with him. She did. They were both killed like 2 minutes later. It was traumatizing. It blew my mind for a long time. Had I just held my pee in, I'm the one currently in a coffin instead of Christine. A wave turned me over while I was about to drown after breaking my neck at the beach. 0-10 experience. Not me, but my father tells a story of driving along a bush road in Bougainville before the revolution there. He was in the car with my mom, baby me and my 5-year-old brother. There was a cardboard box on the side of the road, blowing a bit in the window, like an empty shipping box type thing, and he was going to run over it to amuse my little brother. At the last moment he pulled away though, worried about there being something inside it. As we drove past he looked back in the rearview mirror and saw 2 little kids crawl out of the box and look after him as we drove down the road. I was at an indoor shooting range testing a potato cannon, don't ask. I was leaning against the stall wall with my hand behind my head while my buddy took a shot with it. Suddenly, I felt a pinch burn sensation on my wrist. I took a look at my arm to see blood streaming from a half-inch deep hole on my wrist. The idiot in the stall next to me wasn't sure if his handgun was empty, so he did the most logical thing. He pointed it at the stall wall and pulled the trigger. The bullet grazed my wrist about 3 inches from my head. That's the only time I've ever seen an RSO tackle someone. There's a post on my profile with pictures. Yeah, I'll have to sort by top to find it though. I'll try to make a long story short. My ex-wife and her boyfriend she had behind my back tried to hire someone to kill me so that she could have my life insurance and there wouldn't be a custody battle over our daughter like there would be if she just left me. Luckily for me, the guy they hired to do the job was an undercover deputy working a completely unrelated case against the drug-selling gang her boyfriend belonged to. Yeah. Finding out about all this was a nice surprise. I had absolutely no clue. The boyfriend got 10 years because the gun he gave the deputy to kill me with was stolen, and he had other stuff related to the gang on him. She got 5 years for conspiracy and was released after 3. Car accident, moped vs Oldsmobile. I was the moped driver. Straight road car turns from the oncoming lane across traffic. Being a newish motorcycle driver moped, I knew enough to know I was fucked. But instead of putting it down or turning or anything, I took my hands off the steering and wrapped my head as I impacted no helmet, inverting both knees on the handlebars, breaking the key off inside my right knee, and dislocation of my right shoulder as I spun into the windshield, shattering the windshield, and dislocating my hip on the concrete. My ignorance saved my life. A seasoned rider would have put the bike down and likely been run over, and my taking the hands off the steering saved my fingers, saved my head and neck to an extent, and the shoulder my right was the arm that wrapped my head first, and the impact dislocation it would have been my head if I hadn't. Impact speed was 50 miles per hour. Not a single bone broken, but permanently fucked my back. And realistically, I should be dead. Street light collapsed on me, my neck, and onto the face of the girl in front of me on a 5th grade field trip. I was surprisingly fine, while the girl in front of me got helicoptered out. She made a full recovery though. Got admitted to the ER after my potassium levels tested low. They gave me Enroman 4 and a couple pills, and then kept me in the hospital a couple days until I was at a normal level and were sure that the medication I was on wasn't lowering that significantly. The next day, when the doctor came to check on me, he said he did not know anyone with such low potassium in their blood work that was still alive. The guy who set fire to my house used lighter fluid on a wet mattress he found behind the house. It's because he used the wet mattress that the fire spread slow enough for us to wake up, see the smoke, and call the fire department. Fire department told us that, had the mattress been dry, we'd be dead because he put it up against the side of the house with the gas line. So not just burnt to death, confetted. I guess I'm thankful for the stupidity of crackheads. Back in the year of 2000, 7-year-old me and friends were outside exploring. That day's location happened to be a power station. Older 9Y boy lost his life on top of a machine. Electricity burned a hole through him. I lost both my hands trying to climb up and help him. Amputated below my elbows. Power entered both arms, excited an armpit one side, neck other side. Power never went through my chest or I'd be dead as well. My frat bro's mom was in the Chi Omega house at FSU in 1979. Ted Bundy broke into the house while they were sleeping and killed the 2 girls in the room across the hall from hers and seriously beat up 2 other women. She had to testify at his trial. What saved her? She locked her door. When I was dumb kid of 10 years old, a guy in a shitty car asked me to hop in and help him find his lost puppy. My dumb ass was about to get in when my little bro happened to ride by on a bike and started screaming. He probably saved my life. Left the gas on when I was little making eggs. My stepfather came back early one day from work. He never did that. Chances are I would have either blown up or died from poisoning. I live in the Netherlands, so it's common to go to school work on a bicycle. One day, maybe 15 years ago, I was going to school and just standing at a red light. It turns green, and for some unknown reason I just don't start riding like I always do. Out of nowhere, a car comes speeding by right in my path where I would've been. I never heard or saw it coming, but the collision would've been nasty.